So again, let's go back to diversity and inclusion and why is it important. I find out this is a really nice concept about inclusion that I would like to share with you. Inclusion. The aim of inclusion is to embrace all people, irrespective of race, gender, disability, medical, or other need. It is about giving equal access and opportunities and getting rid of discrimination and intolerance. I love this definition. So it's not super hard to take an example of diversity. For example, here, right now, I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and you are listening to me. There's an example of a really good way of inclusion. So let's go back to product diversification. Every time that we create something new, we are trying to actually build something that is successful. If you want to create a product as business owners or even in the technical way, if we create a product that is diverse also, it means like we are expanding business opportunities through additional market potential of an existing product, right? So diversity means innovation. Every time that we are going to launch something new, check which are the final users, right? Try to contemplate, am I using all my user cases so my product can be successful? Let me tell you a few examples of why we should care about it. One of my favorite topics, artificial intelligence, right? At the end of the day, right now artificial intelligence is such a hot topic, it's everywhere. And right now, we as developers can use artificial intelligence to build really cool stuff. But what is it? Basically, we teach the machine, right? And then they can make better decisions regarding of things that we teach them. So we basically are teaching them to actually make decisions. So who are the people that actually are training these machines to make better decisions? It can be us, right? Let me tell you a few examples. So right now we have a lot of new technologies around, like a voice assistant. I'm a huge fan of voice technologies. But not so long ago, like around 7 years before, something happened. So it's not you. It's voice recognition doesn't recognize women. How does it sound for you? Crazy, right? But actually, it's something that happens. In around 2011, the first voice assistants were in the market. And if a woman speak to the voice assistant, they were not able to recognize women speaking. Why? Because all the testers that they were creating these products were men. Yeah. And in fact, not only that, maybe if you're a man and you have an accent, the voice assistant was not able to recognize you. Again, why? Because the people that create this technology were all men and native English speakers. And besides consuming these products and why we should care about that, every day we need to actually see what's going on. And thanks to the previous talk about Anna, something that is really important for us is to see new role models every day, right? How many of you grow up with a role model of a successful woman in tech? It's hard, right? I didn't. I didn't have a lot of women around me that were successful. That's why you have to create visibility about your work so other people can get inspired. And I'm going to give you another example about information and how important it is. Because for me, if you ask me in my country, or in which kind of cover magazines I grew up when I think about a woman, it's something like this. right? So those are the women that were in the cover magazines. That's okay, we should embrace beauty, but we are a little bit more than that. I think so. Besides this, I would like to share also that create visibility is also a way to create diversity. That's why, as Anna mentioned, you have to be visible, right? Speak loud about your work, right? There are a lot of people watching around you, and you don't know who's the next one that you can be inspired by. So thanks to that, thanks to these kind of role models and so on, today we're going to talk about an app that actually is doing by the Google Assistant. The Google Assistant is a great product that allows you to have a conversation, right? That can be the Google Home, or it can be your smartphone. So Google creates an app that actually you can ask about role models, right? And they can give you a few examples about facts about these female role models. So let's talk about actions on Google. Actions on Google is the fact that you can create these conversations, right? And then create conversational apps and interact with these devices. These devices can be Google Home Hub, it can be your smartphone, or so on. So, for example, if you ask, okay, Google, let's talk to women in tech. That's the way that you're going to launch your product. Second, okay, here's women in tech. And then you can start interacting and ask random facts about women in tech. So let's see which are the different strategies to create this kind of products, right? And how we as developers or people that are related in tech can improve this to improve diversity and inclusion. So for example, if you ask, I already know about Grace Hopper and Ada Lovelace, so let's do a random fun fact, okay? So here you have two different things. You are, first of all, as consumers, you are letting people know what is the role about the women in tech, right? That actually women in tech are really important in history. Grace Hopper and Ada Lovelace are one of the most important characters besides the gender, right? So second, as product owners, you are interacting with the Google Assistant asking facts, right? So the Google Assistant already knows about a few words, like Grace Hopper, Ada Lovelace. If you talk to the Google Assistant, it's going to be able to recognize which kind of things are you asking for. And second, when you have random fun facts, right? The Google Assistant is going to be able to translate what is a random fun fact, and it's going to give you an answer. And then let's see what's happened behind the scenes, right? I'm a Google developer expert in Firebase. Firebase is such a great product that I really suggest to start interacting with that. It's a platform that helps you enable a lot of features, also in web and also in iOS and Android. So we're going to use Firebase today to save this information and actually interact with the Google Assistant. Okay, nothing happened. So some of the features that we have with Firebase, I'm going to mention a few ones. If you didn't try it again, especially if you are wondering which kind of things you can do, as a web developer, you can use hosting, you can use cloud functions. We're going to talk a little bit about database, right? There are so many things around, so I really suggest to try Firebase, and also if you have in mind, not only in terms of development, creating your own business, creating your own product, check Firebase, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about real-time database, right? Basically, it's a NoSQL database that we're going to use for actually save our information, because Google Assistant, it can be smart, but actually we have to teach it how it's going to recognize who is Ada Lovelace, which are the random facts, right? And then we're going to use the storage. The storage, actually, you can use it to save images in the cloud, right? Besides saving images in the cloud, you can save another media data. And everything is allowed, and you can use these also not only for your web platform, also for your Android or your iOS device. Let's go back. So how does it work? So let's go back to the first part, when I asked, OK, Google, talk to women in tech. That's my first part to actually, for the Google Assistant, recognize that you are asking for my app, OK? The second part is the Google Actions on Google. It's going to translate this speak to text, OK? And then it's going to Firebase to actually invoke this woman in tech, check which kind of answers you can provide, right? And then the conversation is going to be that way. It's going to be text to speak, and so on, vice versa. Okay? That's the way that actually works behind the scenes. Again, if you are really interested in NLP, AI, conversational design, this is a really good way to start, because I'm not a data scientist, but I really like to use all these functionalities, so I don't have to learn anything about like natural language processing. Everything is already done for us, so we can start using these tools. And second, we need to host all this information somewhere, right? So we can use Firebase to actually deploy our webhook, okay? So basically, once that we create our actions on Google, we can provide a link that Firebase is going to give us. And it's super simple. You just need to log in with the Firebase login. You need to create your own project, right? And then you can start building all these features that I mentioned before. In this case, we are going to use deploy hosting. So after that, in our console in Dialogflow, we're going to have this URL that Firebase provided us first, right? We can put it over there. And then with this, we're going to host our actions on Google. So this is the first part. This is in really general terms. If you didn't do it before, I really suggest to take a look at all of these. There are code labs that is going to guide you step by step. The idea of this is give you new keys to actually start building your own products, right? And one other thing that for me is really important every time that we talk about inclusion and diversity is accessibility. Okay? The inclusion and diversity is not only about gender, race. It's also being able to have more people that is going to use our product. So accessibility is a huge part of this. If you have been working in web development, you know that in terms of HTML, semantic HTML, you really have to think about how you can build better products in terms of accessibility. So what about these kind of products that you are using conversational apps, right? Because it can be a little bit frustrated if a person has certain kind of disabilities. So let me mention which kind of interactions we can do. So right now, Actions on Google provides a lot of different interactions. You can ask for the weather, you can ask for playing your favorite music playlist, and so on. So something that I would like to mention is a new way to interact with the Google Assistant. So it's creating cards, right? So if you are going to create your own product in the Google Assistant, you can also provide to help people with disabilities in terms of here. So you can actually improve accessibility, building cards, and helping people the same way that you're doing a conversation, creating these cards so actually it's going to be able to use screen readers or even people that are not able to hear. Again, right now we have even the Google Home Hub that this is having this screen that actually is going to contemplate if you have disabilities in terms of see, because you're able to hear, and also in terms of reading, right? And then a few best practices. It doesn't matter if you don't get what's going on here in the code, but for example, if you're going to use images, remember that you need to use URLs and so on. So apply the same semantic language that you use, for example, to do websites, right? You have to, besides images, you have to check another attributes, right? To be able to the user, if they're not able to see, read what that image contains. And then you can provide another languages too, to translate it and to being able to actually interact with more people. So there's something that is called string.js that you can use to build your actions. And also you can provide the same kind of actions in more than one language. And also you can use localization, right? So it doesn't matter in which part you are going to use your actions. You can build different actions depending on the language. And one more thing, we are also creators, right? It depends on us which kind of products we can build. And also, we are final consumers. So basically, we are the ones that at the end we're going to use these products. So I really suggest for you, especially if you're developers, start trying to build new features. Check which kind of new features are in the market, because we shouldn't be allowed to create just a specific kind of people. Right now, machine learning and a lot of different tools are available for us, so that's why we need diversity. At the end, we build better products and we provide more people that are going to be able to consume our products. If you're interested in more in actions on Google, I really suggest to take a look in these code labs, right? All these resources are available for you in Google. And you can check all this documentation. There are even code labs that are going to explain you step by step how you can translate actions on Google, how you can build more actions on Google with Dialogflow, things about Firebase, and so on. So that in terms of technical. And that's it. Thank you.
Laura, thank you a lot for your presentation.
Yeah.
And now we have some questions. First of this, dear guests, we see all your questions via this application, but we have certain time, so all your maybe more questions you can ask and address our speaker during lunch and during our pauses. So, one question.
Okay.
What are the first actions to start bringing more inclusion to our apps?
So I really suggest, first of all, try to build an inclusive environment. That's something that really works besides the technical aspect, right? Even if you're a woman or if you're a man, you can always be able to interact with people with different backgrounds. Try to do it. That's really important for me. That's why also I'm here. I'm really interested in people that I can learn that is completely from a different background. It doesn't matter, you cannot even do it like physically, you don't even have to travel, but to be able to see different kind of things for a different point of view that is not yours, is really important. It's really important. You're going to realize that at the end, we have a lot of more things in common. So,
Maybe more questions from the audience. We need to choose the best one to present the t-shirt. Any volunteers?
Oh. My name is... Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Grigori. Thank you a lot for your brilliant presentation. My question is about building AI and machine learning products. You know that data is a key for any machine learning application, and obviously we as developers should make our best trying to provide inclusive data and diverse data for algorithms that we teach. But sometimes it's really hard because of some cultural conditions and government objectives about this data. For example, think about some Arabic countries or maybe about children data. So do you think we as professionals, we as tech makers can do something with it, or maybe you can you see some ways that situation will change in the future? Thank you.
yeah, that's a really good question because I think also it's related with try to get with the environment that you're working on, and sometimes we have a lot of limits and restrictions. I'm gonna be like a little bit extreme, but I will say that if you feel comfortable working in the environment that you are in and you can follow the rules and so on, that's fine. But if you have like bigger ideas or something else as a professional that you would like to share with the world, do it. I'm telling you this because my last office job was in the government. And as Anna said before, you have to realize that if you feel comfortable in this kind of environments, it wasn't for me, of course. I quit. And then I started to travel and do this kind of life. And I was able to see that actually there are so many ways to do and to share things as a professional and also in a technical way. If you're not able to do in a certain kind of environment, maybe you can do it in another environment. As long as it's for something positive, that's what we're talking about. So I suggest you, if you have something to share, don't hide it, go for it.
Okay, we have one more question. I see you. How to become a software engineer in Google?
First of all, I don't work for Google. I'm a Google developer expert. That means that Google supports you, that you know a lot about their products, right? But I'm really related with the Google community, and the community is amazing. If and we're going to have Sviad, that is, I think, is over there. He is a developer relations for Google. You can ask him. But in my case, I'm part of Google Developers Experts community, and also with the Google Developers Group community. And it's amazing because one of the things that I had the chance to do with this is to travel to be able to share with people different types of knowledge, right? We are all passionate about technology. So that means to be a Google developer expert. Thanks to that, I'm here in this conference sharing with you. So you can be involved with Google, not only working directly, also you can be part of the Google community. And it's amazing.
Okay, thank you. One more question from the audience.
Hello. I would like to ask, what would you personally recommend for a woman to overcome some common stereotypes about her professional path and to become a good developer?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part. Sorry.
And become a good developer.
Okay, so as a developer, if you just started, I really suggest to speak something and pick something specific that you like. When you start your career as a developer, we have a lot of different paths, a lot. Like you can be front-end engineer, AI engineer, so many. And sometimes, especially when we start, it's more about something that I always say, you're not wasting your time if you are taking which kind of things you enjoy. So in my case, for example, I've been working with different technologies, but I choose one, that is JavaScript and also Firebase. That's why now I've started to focus into that technology. So that, for a professional, you start being an expert. So that's why how you start to being recognized for a certain kind of technology. And that's how I'm a Google Developer Expert. So one of the best advices for you, if you're a developer, pick one topic that you really like and study a lot about it. So people will ask you about this topic, and you start building your professional life around this one. But of course, it should be something that you enjoy, not something else.
Okay, one more. What efforts Google makes for people with dyslexia and other speech difficulties?
Okay, that's a really good question. So right now, there's a program that is called AI for All, something related, that Google, first of all, opened their tools to everybody. It means artificial intelligence tools to build better products. And they think there's a program, that's something that I just saw. There's a program to actually build products with AI, and then help this kind of disabilities and so on. So I think you can check. Also, it's available for everybody if you want to participate and so on. That's one part. In terms of technology, well, they're trying to, I think so, share with you best practices. Again, all this information that I share with you about accessibility and so on, those are best practices and rules that actually are trying to do to promote accessibility, and that's something that is related. So that's in terms of Google. And then as professionals, we have to take care about that too.
Okay, thank you. We have also one more. What had happened to you so that you choose the tech career? Why not something else which much more relevant to women?
I'm happy with my path. In my case, I didn't. It was not hard to be around tech. I've started to work with tech since I was a teenager. I coded like super early. I was always related with software, and then I just start working as a software developer. I started my career when I was 19. It was my first job at Oracle. So I have like a full path related with tech. And in the middle, like I started my own business. I became a speaker. So it's all about research which kind of things you really like, and then go for it. Sometimes it takes time. That's fine. In my case, it didn't, but in the middle of my path, I also realized that I like to teach, that I like to speak, that I like to travel. So all of these kind of things are part of my daily job. So I'm pretty proud of my path. You should do it too.
Okay, thank you a lot.